Warning! Oh, no, wait, there ain't a warning for this one. Because these three have finally managed to get their potty mouths under control a little bit. There might be a couple of words here and there like fuck and shit and things like that, but there ain't as many as there have been. So if you can't deal with the occasional fuck or shit or motherfucking, then maybe you should tune it. Eat it.
Dukey Radio Show.
Hello, 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 hello. With me in the studio, Sylvia Silversmith.
Hello, everyone.
And Marsha Jeremiah MacDonald.
What up, peeps? What? Jeremiah?
I gave you a middle name.
I like it. I'm good with, I'm down, just don't call me Jerry. Has to be Jeremiah. Every time, Jeremiah.
Indeed.
Okay? No Jerry.
So, will you just use that as your first name from now on?
I'm good with it. I'm going down to the office. I'm going down to the name changing office right when we're done, okay?
With me in the studio, Jeremiah MacDonald.
Yeah. What up, peeps?
There's been a new arrival at Dukey HQ.
I heard from Sylv that there's been a new arrival because she's met the new arrival. And I'm just surprised at your arrival.
Why are you surprised?
Dukey.
Does this new arrival seem out of keeping with what you assume to be my traits and attributes and all that good stuff?
Dukey, I've met the new arrival personally. And I was just surprised because you didn't tell anybody about it.
No.
You didn't let anybody know. And it just doesn't seem in keeping with the Dukey who we know and love, who's a bit rock and roll and a bit, you're just not the kind of person to live the kind of structured arrival, the kind of structured lifestyle that this arrival necessitates.
That said, the catalyst for this arrival.
Yes.
Indeed, the source of its gestation.
Yes.
Consummation, you could even say.
Ah, right. Been a consummation.
It involved a lot of red wine.
Right.
Some spirits.
It usually does. I find when people have an arrival, they usually, well, not usually, but, a lot of times alcohol was involved.
A late night laptop usage.
Okay, specialist.
And my credit card.
Yeah, okay, Dukey, is that how it is? Right, I got it.
That's how it was, certainly.
It's a very, very lovely thing. It's very lovely.
Indeed.
I know it wasn't the color of choice.
No, it's in a...
It was a surprising color.
Yes.
For you.
Candy apple red.
Yes.
It clashes with everything else in my kitchen. And from the sounds of it, may clash with my personality.
Dukey, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I have no... What... I knew there was an arrival, and I was like, I don't even know... I mean, I kind of assumed it wasn't the usual arrival, because we probably would have heard something about that. But, still, I thought, well, who knows? Maybe he's a man of mystery.
I may be.
But you're not.
Somebody did knock at my door to hand the arrival to me.
It was a spur-of-the-moment thing, wasn't it, Dukey?
It was late at night.
Yes.
I was sufficiently inebriated.
Yes.
And...
Obviously.
Felt no issues about applying credit card number to laptop keyboard.
Yeah.
And
it's a bad combo. You know.
I've had some eBay moments, I'll have you know.
Yeah, we've all been there.
The source of this was actually YouTube. I was having one of those nights.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can I ask how your dog is feeling about the new arrival? I mean, is the dog... Because I know sometimes when people have, like, pets and they have a new arrival, like, they struggle with the pet situation. So can I ask, does your dog factor in here at all?
The dog's reaction to the arrival went from complete and utter excitement to disappointment. The excitement being that she thought the large box was for her. That's her tipping and tapping around.
Yeah.
Just hearing about the story again is quite emotional for her. There was a knock at the door.
Yeah.
The person who informed me about the arrival.
And your dog thought it was for her?
Yes.
Well, your dog, because I've been at your house, and when packages have been delivered, and they usually are for your dog.
Yes.
Because you get like her food and her snacks and stuff.
Yes.
From sources that require the postal service.
Yes.
And so they usually are for her. So it's just, she's a clever dog. So she just assumes that anything in a cardboard box is for her.
Yes.
Okay, so then once she figured out it wasn't for her, right?
She sat down quite violently.
Right.
And a dog can sit down violently.
Right.
You know, a big thump.
Right.
She let out the biggest sigh.
Okay.
She also followed that bad boy up with a moan.
Okay, so all right, so sorry. So you're watching TV at night late.
Oh no, I'm watching YouTube.
Oh, sorry,
clips
YouTube. Okay, and you got a bottle of wine on the go.
Yes. I had
Bad
one of those
combo.
days.
Okay, and you've had one of those days.
I had one of those days.
And you decide that it's a good idea to make a purchase.
Yes.
Right.
I was trawling through YouTube and I came across something that felt so essential that my life felt like it was lacking meaning or indeed substance without it.
Oh, God. Is it legal?
It's definitely legal.
Oh, okay.
Indeed. It's fine.
I think it's a little bit too legal.
Yes.
Okay.
Although, arguably, it all stemmed from a very unremarkable bit of dialogue that somebody on a YouTube channel brandished.
Yes. Is it Grumpy Man?
A very grumpy man from Canada.
Yes.
And that just so happens to be in North America.
Yes, it certainly does.
And this little bit of dialogue here is what led me to make this purchase, is what led to this new arrival. Incidentally, the item of food that this guy, Dave, references has absolutely no interest to me whatsoever. The fact is, I was just going from YouTube clip to YouTube clip as the wine kept pouring.
I think Marsha needs to hear this clip.
Indeed.
I'm dying to know.
Okay, so you need some of this, some of that, and one of these. And we're going to make some Swiss steak in the crock of shit pot. Stand by.
So, there you go.
Right.
This chap says, crack a shit pot.
Why are you watching this guy? I don't understand. He also does guitars.
Yes.
Yes.
That
makes more sense.
Yes.
Okay.
The YouTube channel is called Dave's World of Fun Stuff. And he's based in Toronto and has clips mainly about guitar repair and things like that, in addition to cooking segments.
And he cooks.
Occasionally.
Okay, so am I given to think that you bought a crock pot?
Yes.
Wow.
Or indeed a crock of shit pot.
Crock of shit pot.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
He's been talking about it a lot. Like, I don't mean before you bought it, because that was completely spur of the moment, obviously. But since, there's been lots of discussions about crock pottery.
Yes.
What goes in the crock pot, what's possible for the crock pot, how it looks when it comes out of the crock pot, how it looks during the cooking in the crock pot.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I have joined the slow cooking revolution using what's fundamentally 1950s technology.
Dukey, isn't it something that your parents had, and it only lived in the kitchen for maybe a couple of months before they decided to put it in the basement or the loft or in a cupboard, or they decided that it was a no-go, basically. Isn't that what a crock pot is? Along with a fondue set.
The fondue set, that's something completely different.
Or, like, in the 80s, like, I'm sure everybody's parents had, like, the George Foreman grill.
Yes.
Right.
Into the 90s as well.
And
I think
into
it was
the 90s,
it was certainly a staple for students.
Yeah.
possibly even today.
Yeah, so
it's that one essential piece of kit.
Everybody's got
If
to
you're a
have,
student.
every generation has to have, their parents had some piece of gadgetry where it just didn't fly, right? You had to have one like you guys are saying, like the fondue or the crock pot or the George Foreman grill. You know what it's going to be nowadays? It's going to be that, what is it, that thing?
The thing.
I think I know what she means by the thing. It's the juicer blender thing.
Oh.
The kind that you put loads of stuff in it, and then you turn it upside down on the blendery blade thing, and it just whizzes it all up into a smoothie, and then it actually acts as a cup as well as a blender.
So
it's not
right.
like a juicer, but it's like a mini blender.
Right.
And I've got a friend that bought one for her mom for Christmas, and I was thinking, it's not gonna fly. I mean, on Christmas Day, you're gonna be putting a lot of fruit and shit in it, and then by New Year's, it's gonna be in a cupboard. You know what I mean? It's gonna be, it's just not gonna fly.
What are you saying?
And then, people in the future will be saying, "Oh yeah, my parents had one of those blendery things," and it's like that. Isn't that what the crock pot's like?
The crock pot has an element of convenience which overshadows the juicer apparatus that you just referenced.
Dukey,
Yes.
I think you need to tell Martha what you made in the crock pot on, what was it, Friday night?
I did crock pot lasagna. Do we need
Wow.
Do we need a moment of silence?
You did crock pot lasagna?
I did.
How is that even possible? What, like a vegetable lasagna?
Basically, yeah.
Okay,
Veggie mince.
Veggie mince? You put mince in it?
Veggie mince.
He
Corn.
means like vegetarian ground beef. Ah, right. I thought you meant like after dinner mince.
Oh.
Like,
mince,
which should be a whole
mince.
different ball game.
Mince isn't mincing around.
Marcia, how long have you lived here? Yeah, I know, but I don't go out much. Okay, so you made a lasagna in a crock pot.
Yes.
How does that work?
Firstly, I feel duty bound to inform you both and our listeners, and thanks for allowing us into your auditory canals. I feel that I need to tell you about the glories of how crockpot works.
Oh, God.
Imagine a Dutch oven, and I'm not referring to, beneath the duvet flatulence.
Yeah.
A Dutch oven in the sense of what a huge receptacle for food that you can slow cook things.
That you stick in the oven.
Yes.
That you put inside the
Yes.
actual oven, yes.
And then occasionally you can also run that bad boy on a hob as well.
Okay.
Now,
Can I just say this podcast gets more rock and roll every minute?
Certainly.
Yes, okay.
In the 1950s, when the stresses of looking after a family were being met with increasing numbers of women entering the workforce, the crockpot enabled nutritious meals to be prepared easily.
You're saying it's a feminist item.
Absolutely.
Is that what you're saying, Dukey?
I am the Jermaine Greer of the cooking world.
You really are. Okay. All right.
I'm the Gloria Steinem of food prep.
So you're supporting feminism by making a lasagna
Yes.
in something that wasn't designed for lasagna.
I don't know if I agree with you there.
I think it's just for people who hate cooking.
Basically, yes.
Because I hate cooking. And that's the reason why I went over to your house to see this new arrival, because I thought maybe this might be a good idea for me, where you just throw everything in a pot and turn it on. Fabulous.
And it slow cooks it for a considerable time.
So, Sel, did you taste the lasagna? I did indeed. I reaped the rewards of the crockpot lasagna.
And very nice it was, question mark.
It was okay.
Excellent.
It was pretty good. A little more. So the thing about the crockpot lasagna is you don't get the structure. that a lasagna normally has.
Indeed.
But, it was cheesy, tomatoey, noodly goodness.
Yes.
It was cheese. That's what you want from a lasagna, right?
Correct.
You just want cheesy, tomatoey, noodly goodness, and it was.
It's like seeing a bad film and saying it had a beginning, a middle, and an end, as well as a soundtrack.
I actually said to you I would have it again.
Did you?
I did. You asked me, would you have it again? And I did. I said I would. I wouldn't use the cottage cheese again.
They did not have a ricotta.
A lot of people do that, though. They use cottage cheese instead of ricotta anyway.
Indeed, I went out to the shops and they didn't have any, and I just wanted to get cooking.
I thought it was a very nice
Thank you.
bowl of cheesy goodness.
Indeed, I think there are ways in which you can ensure the structure is better, and I will look into it. It excels at stews. I've done a number of omelettes, stroke quiches.
How is an
using
omelet
it.
a stew?
I didn't say it just did stews.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand. You made an omelet in a crock pot?
Yes.
I mean, how long does it take to make an omelet? Like 2 minutes? So what does it take in the crock pot? Like 8 hours? What? Why would you want to? I don't understand. I don't understand. I have to say, Dukey, I don't understand that either, because I hate cooking, and even there's sometimes when I get home from work and I just think, oh, just make me an omelet. It's fine. It takes 2 minutes.
The omelette it's kind of like an omelette stroke quiche. So you can make an enormous, wodge of this eggy goodness. Does eggy goodness come in wadges?
Okay,
you have a
Dukey.
wadge of cash. Can you have a wadge of omelette? You can now.
I don't know whether, Dukey, what you're hoping to get from this whole thing is like some work as like one of those, what do you call them? Those really long commercials, that are like half an hour. Infomercial.
Right.
I don't know if you're looking to get work on doing one of those selling crock pots, but right now you're failing. Because I'm thinking to use the word wadge for, something that I'm going to eat.
It probably is a malapropism, but...
Okay, because you don't go into like a fancy restaurant and say, oh, well, I'll have the wadge of, pasta. I don't want, do you have what do you have in a wadge?
In 2017, Chef Marco Pierre White introduced his infamous crock-pot meal. Mm-hmm. You would have to order your dishes 9 hours in advance, and this revolutionized the British culinary industry.
So you're telling me what essentially is a convenience food of an omelet is now going to take like 8 hours, and then it's going to get dished up in a wadge. I can't say that watching this infomercial, even if I was drunk at 2 a.m, I wouldn't be getting out my credit card.
It's a crock of shit pot.
Okay, so how does the omelet come out then?
It was
Are you liking it?
beautiful.
Okay,
Oh, it was
all
beautiful.
right. Okay.
This is an omelette with a difference. This is a breakfast medley.
It surely doesn't take 8 hours, though, because an omelet, surely, that would kill it. So
An hour and a half.
Oh, okay, that's
2
not bad.
hours.
Okay, that's not bad. Like if you were having like a breakfast, like if you had lots of people around for breakfast because they stayed the night over, that might be quite a good idea. Yeah, I could see that because it's hard to make different eggs for lots of people. Whereas if you had it all in one, that's pretty good.
Yes.
I think, Dukey, really what you really enjoy about the crockpot stuff is all the YouTube crockpottery people.
Yes. I have been trawling YouTube since I've ordered the crock of shit pot.
Rock and roll.
And I've come across a number of different approaches to crockpot recipes. Incidentally, can I go back to my breakfast medley?
Of course you can, Dukey.
Late at night,
Yes.
getting back home from a gig,
Yes.
feeling the effects of post-gig imbibery,
Yes.
I assembled all of the breakfast medley ingredients.
Did you?
It took sod all time.
Oh, okay.
And in my crock of shit pot, I have a delay function.
Yeah.
So that it
yes.
starts cooking
I gotcha.
in the wee hours of the morning.
I gotcha.
And then timing it around the hour that I would awake and see the harsh daylight reality of the real world,
You might
my
be selling
breakfast
it to me.
medley
Okay.
presented itself.
That might actually sell it to me.
And also, easily enough for 5 people. And because of the density of this breakfast medley, I was able to tuck into that bad boy for a couple of days afterwards.
That's pretty good, actually.
And-
Dukey, could Marsha and I come over and could I make us dinner in your crock pot?
Absolutely.
But then I'd have to come over, in the morning?
Come over in the morning, it then
Okay.
cooks through the day.
I'll come over in the morning and I'll look after your dog when you're at work, and I will throw something in the crock pot for all of us.
Yes.
And then we could sample. Because I quite like a stew. Because
Yes.
they're easy. And it's easier to be vegetarian with stews and things. You just lots of beanie type stuff.
Yes,
So could I do that?
certainly.
Yeah, that's great.
Back to the YouTube clips. I've been looking for inspiration. I didn't just want to go online and peruse hundreds of different recipes. I wanted to see people making them. I came across this one woman named Average Betty.
You showed her to me. She's crazy.
Very bubbly. Very, very bubbly.
Dukey, I don't-
Very loud woman. She has a voice that easily could compete with your very own.
Sarah from Average Betty here, and I'm making crock pot pizza. I read online that you can make pizza in a crock pot. And if that doesn't pique your culinary curiosity, stay out of the kitchen. Let's make crock pot pizza.
Dukey, there's something that I think your listeners need to know, that we divide the world into two separate kinds of people. There are those people who love Dukey Duke. And there are those people who just really don't get Dukey Duke at all. And they're usually very uptight people who are very earnest, who don't understand your sense of humor.
Correct.
And in fact, are very offended by your mere presence.
Yes,
And Average Betty is one of those people.
certainly.
Yes, so she would like
Sadly.
you. Well, not so sadly, because I'm thinking, I don't know that you would need her in your life.
She's very loud, very in your face. Her channel and all the videos in it are slickly put together.
Well, she's gunning for her own cooking song.
Yes.
So,
And
yeah,
she,
'cause
she
that's
knows
what...
her way around a crock pot.
You want to know what the world needs? The world needs more stuff about food, okay? That's what it needs.
I had an idea for a show earlier today.
Yeah,
British actress Minnie Driver.
I know her. Yeah, I know of her. Yeah, okay.
The idea of the show is simple.
Yeah.
Minnie and Dukey drive cars and eat. Episode 1.
Wow.
Getting to... will be filmed in the US.
Okay.
Episode 1. Getting to know you. Cupcakes and heartbreaks on the whatever name of road that we could be on.
Dukey, I think I know you well enough now to guess that what you did there was your brain, the gerbils in your brain, came up with the idea for a driving show.
Yes.
And then they went swiftly to the word driver and unearthed out of the little catalogs of index cards in your brain, unearthed Minnie Driver.
Correct.
And put those two items together. Am I right?
Yes.
Oh my God, I am.
She's a decent actress. We do have a mutual friend and links to a certain drama school. You know how buddy films from the 80s and 90s came to be? Cops. I think the first one must be 48 Hours.
Okay, yes.
48 Hours really set the scene.
48 hours with a crock pot.
There are different kinds of people.
Oh, that's what you and Minnie Driver could do. You could drive around with a crock pot and then get it out, right, wherever you arrive at a certain lovely destination, and plug it in, and then throw all the ingredients in, and then while it's cooking, go off and explore this lovely area that you happen to be in. Like you're in I don't know, Montana.
Right.
And you go and explore the Butte. Yeah, you're in Butte, Montana.
And then Minnie gets a bit ratty, and we're actually running the crock pot off of the cigarette lighter
Yes, of
function.
course, yes.
And she's going, Andy, any chance you can drive a bit more smoothly? We're about to lose the contents of the crock pot.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you mean like you'd go and explore in the car?
In the car.
Whilst everything's cooking?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we arrive somewhere, but while we're driving, we discover things about each other. Hence, episode 1, getting to know you, cupcakes, and heartbreaks.
Dukey, as your people, because I consider myself to be your people, if you want me to, I will get in touch with Minnie Driver's people, and then you could have your people getting in touch with her people to run this idea by her.
It has to happen.
Dukey, I think it has to happen. I think Minnie Driver is a good idea. I think you also need to do UK one, and you need to have Jessica Hines in it, or Jessica Stevenson. I always get mixed up.
She's Jessica Hines now.
She's
yes.
Jessica Hines, yes. I think you need to have her, because I think she's on the side of people who would like Dukey a lot, and I know that you love her lots. And why wouldn't you? Because she's marvelous.
She is a national treasure.
She's a treasure, and I think you should do it with her in the UK.
I like that.
Dukey and Jess.
Yes. A really obvious thing to do would be to actually drive in a Mini with Minnie Driver.
See, there's your gerbils at work again. Because
It's
you think
really
of Minnie,
naff.
and then your gerbils are going over to the catalog that have Minnie, and they come up with Minnie. Yeah.
Who the hell thinks about Minnie Driver and cooking shows together?
Dukey, I'm kind of with Marsha, because I kind of think you'd make any show fabulous, of course, because you're fabulous.
That's really cruel.
I don't mean it to be crawly. It's just true.
Thank you.
And I just think the world doesn't need any more food television See, I was watching this show the other night about art, and they were just going to different cities and explaining about the different art and architecture that were in those cities, the two presenters. And then all of a sudden they ended up in a restaurant, and they were eating, and they started talking about all the food. And I was kind of going, but I don't care about the food because it's about the art. So why are they telling me about Jesus? I didn't understand that. And I just thought, that's how crazy it's become. Like, television producers nowadays, I think they actually sit down and go, that's a great idea for the show. Now, how can we get some food into it?
Stephen Hawking is just, one wheelchair revolution away from doing the theory about gravy.
Yeah, that's what it's going to come down to. You're going to have Stephen Hawking doing a documentary on
gravy,
the universe, and the television producers are going to sit him down and go, okay, yeah, we're ready to, Stephen Hawking is go for this show, but where does the food come in? Because you can't pitch a show without food.
Coming from Yorkshire, I really like gravy.
Yeah. That's what it's got to be nowadays, because it seems like you can't have anything without food. Kind of like, that's why I always go on about it with Ride Said Fred, with my writing groups. Like, can we not just sit down and talk about writing without food being involved? And, people who have listened to that have already heard me be pissed off about that. So, there you go.
Another one of these YouTube clips had a woman who looked like she's had a bit of a troubled background, who...
Dukey, I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means. I mean, yeah, okay. What?
She was doing a crock pot recipe, and then on YouTube, good production values, had a split screen, and on one side of the screen, you see her preparing the crock pot dish.
Right.
And on the other side of the screen, it's a close-up of herself watching the other side of the screen.
Wow.
And she's commenting on it.
Wow. I mean,
so what you see that I'm doing right here is I'm stirring that stuff up. Stirring it away.
Wow.
And I'm going to put the onions in. And the one thing, because this is going to slow cook for a long while,
wow.
I'm not going to brown them, because the flavors are going to meld.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I think it's like Sylv says, sounds like she's gunning for her own cooking. Everybody wants to be on the Food Network nowadays.
Well, I will be with the Minnie and Dukey drive cars, eat food.
Everybody needs a creative outlet, and I guess food is the most accessible, right?
Yes.
So everybody's got to be... What you haven't told us about, Dukey, is the other person who you regaled me with, if that's the correct term, is your man.
There is a man.
Now, I love this man.
Yes. There is a man who has brought a sense of danger, a sense of urbanity, and a degree of strong language.
He's keeping it real.
He's keeping it real.
Yes.
We are talking about crockpots from the hood. This is not the name of this person's channel.
Okay. Wow.
But, he sounds a little bit like Marsalis Wallace from Pulp Fiction.
Right.
I realise this is 2 Dukey radio show episodes in a row in which Pulp Fiction, Tarantino's masterpiece, has been referenced.
I don't mind. I hope people don't mind, but I don't mind that. I mean, you can't go wrong, right? It's now a classic, right?
Yes.
So, you can't go wrong.
And it stands the test of time.
Yeah, it does.
It's dated very, very well.
This man has all but the Band-Aid on the back of his head.
Yes. And
he's from a different cultural background, though.
Indeed.
Because it took us a while to work it out. He needs to get a tripod.
Yes.
Why does he need to get it? Because he's
a little bit shaky.
Well, it's not that just a little bit shaky, but sometimes he needs both hands to stir something or to unpackage something. And but one hand he's filming with his cell phone. So it makes it a little difficult. So then he has to say, I got to put you down. So then, yes, he needs a tripod or a friend.
Indeed. That said, his clips are short, sharp, and to the point.
What cultural background is he then?
He's-
I mean, not that it matters. It just, sets the scene.
He's a Colombian American or Colombian US.
More importantly and more interestingly, he's a bodybuilder.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay. So what is he making, like protein meals in the crock pot? Yes, that seems to be his thing.
And he talks about gains quite a bit.
Yes, you got to talk about a gain. I go on lots of bodybuilding sites because I'm really, not that I'm into bodybuilding, obviously, but because when they're talking about supplements to do your body good, these bodybuilders do not mess around. They're like, take this or you're a motherfucker. Oh, they're like, if you don't take this supplement, then you are a fucking dick. And that's the way I like my supplement advice. Like, just give it to me straight up. You do this or you're a fucking pussy. I love it.
That's pretty fucking direct.
Yes, so I always go on the bodybuilder sites. So I know about talking about gains just from reading that kind of stuff.
In the weightlifting world, these are people who actually want to bulk up.
You want gains, yeah. You definitely want gains. You do not want losses.
On a personal level, I'm definitely not using the crock pot for that purpose, but for convenience. This chap is great, and...
A chap. I think he would love being referred to as a chap.
He has, on his YouTube channel, an entire section dedicated to crock pot recipes.
Wow.
And I've watched every one of them.
Wow. And he's a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And you're a rock and roller. He's a bodybuilder.
Yes.
And you're both really into the crock pot.
Yes.
Wow.
And he has inspired me to create a new character.
Okay.
Called Chef Jamie All Over Your Ass.
Wow. What is this guy's name?
Chef Boyard Beast.
Wow. Okay. I like it. Like Chef Boyardee, Chef Boyard Beast.
Yes.
I like this guy.
And his YouTube channel is called
Endomorph Beast.
Endomorph Beast. Hence all of that.
The thing that I love about him is he gives recipes whilst also including swear words. Which is, you're not going to get that. As much as I love Nigella, you're not going to get that with Nigella.
No.
You're not going to tell her.
She makes sexual innuendos.
She does. This is true.
I remember her digging out some tongs and saying, ooh, I like a bit of tongue action.
Bless her.
Genuine line from...
I love her.
I believe it was from the Nigel Lissima series.
I wish she was my sister. And at the same time... Mr. Beastie, he's telling you to put the fucking beans in the crock pot.
Yeah.
I love that. It's fabulous.
He's brilliant.
Right. He might be my new favorite guy.
He comes in there with, yo, guess who's fucking back? It's Chef Boyard Beast here, also known as Jamie All Over Your Ass, giving you some crock pot recipes. All you need to do with this bad boy is you set it and motherfucking forget it. And it makes your crib smell like a fucking restaurant. Grab a spoon, spread that shit around.
Wow. The thing is that we had to watch that scene from Pulp Fiction where you get Marcellus Wallace explaining to Bruce Willis that he has to take a hit.
Yes.
He has to pretend to lose the boxing game so that Marcellus would pay him for
The
this.
world is full of nasty ass motherfuckers that think their ass is gonna age like wine.
And the thing about that scene is that you really do. I mean, it is Marcellus doing crockpot cookery, and it's just fabulous.
The world is full of nasty ass motherfuckers that like to eat fast food. They got fucking impatient asses and shit. If you mean the food tastes shit, it does.
Wow.
If you means it would be better if it was cooked in a crock pot, it would.
Wow.
Sometimes you might want to dig out your shit and cook it straight away. That's pride kicking in. Fuck pride.
Dukey, the thing, but so if he's a bodybuilder and he's about, what is it, the gains?
He makes references to gains.
So that means, what is he, like, he's high protein? I bet he's definitely high protein. So that's not going to fit in with being a vegetarian, right?
In any case, you can come up with meat substitutes or take the meat out.
You can still be entertained by this.
Absolutely.
I mean, what did he make? He made tacos?
Yes.
He made tacos in a crock pot. He made tacos in a crock pot. Right. And it's still, the thing that interests me is that everything he cooks with comes out of a packet. So there's not a single thing that's going in there that is in its original form.
To be fair,
No judgment.
Yeah, a lot of the recipes have titles along the lines of lazy ass fucking chili.
I guess if you're a bodybuilder and you're 6 hours in the gym, you just want to come home and eat some protein. So, but the thing that interests me with a lot of these crock pot people is that they don't even grate their own cheese.
No.
And I hate cooking, so that makes me automatically a very lazy cook. I'm quite okay with cooking, like grating cheese. It takes like a minute.
Is that a bit of a North American thing where instead of going out and purchasing a big block of cheese, you buy it grated? Is that
Yes,
just a lot more common over there?
Everything that I see from the States nowadays where that involves cooking, like these YouTube things, makes me think that the United States is now in the future that was imagined in the Jetsons.
Yes.
So they don't quite have Rosie the robotic maid yet. And they're not quite flying to work in their flying car that they can then fold up and put in their pocket. But they're nearly at eating everything, in pill form, nearly. So, and I just think you could grate some cheese. I mean, you can grate some cheese, surely.
Absolutely.
I can grate cheese. It takes me 15 seconds. But, if you want to get it out of a packet, then it just seems a little strange to me. Like, everything comes out of a packet. And yes, it's like you can't even buy block cheese there anymore. It just comes grated.
Lazy ass motherfuckers.
Well, that's, I'm down with the lazy ass motherfuckers.
Absolutely. That's the main reason why I got a crock pot, really. I throw my motherfucking shit in there.
You made a lasagna.
I set it and I fucking forget it.
Have you made anything else? So you've made like an egg thing and you've made like a lasagna thing.
Yes.
And have you made anything else? You got any plans?
I've done a chili. And
you made chili?
Yes.
How did the chili come out?
Perfect. Really,
Perfect.
That is what the crock pot really excels at.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was a case of, in the morning, I'm going to summon Chef Boyard Beast.
I'm liking it.
I got up in the fucking morning. I put my ingredients in that bad boy. I set it. I fucking forget it. I come back home. The crib smells like motherfucking chili. Got carne all over your ass.
Wow. You know what you sound like, Dukey? You know what you sound like? This is what people who have had a baby are like. So, and it's all good. It's just natural. You have a baby And that's all you can, your whole world revolves around this baby because that's just life. And you don't have a baby, you have a crock pot.
Correct. A new arrival.
Bam, bam. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, I love crock-pot meals. So to spend your time in the stomach of a baby. Oh, I love crock-pot meals. Set it and forget it and dance with me.
He's cleared kitchen space for this thing.
Yes.
Have you really? You clear really like having a baby. Like you got to clear out part of a room or whatever for the crib. Wow.
I had to make some worktop sacrifices in order to accommodate
I'm
it.
sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. What had to go? Something had to go?
I don't want to talk about it. It's too painful.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He had to move his soda stream. She's grassing you up. Right. Oh, yeah. You got one of
love
those
bubbles.
You got one of those soda stream thingies. I'm a little worried about the soda stream.
What, the dodgy politics of the company involved?
Yeah. Have I mentioned this before?
It has come up in a recent episode.
Oh, okay,
yes.
sorry.
No, by all means, let's go there again.
I am a little worried about it because I do travel around because I like fizzy water. And I'm in front of people who don't really know me. And I do think, are they looking at my soda stream thinking that I'm, what is it?
Anti-Palestinian.
Or
Yeah.
do they think I'm anti-Palestinian? And I think I don't want my water bottle to be political.
No. I want my bubbles to be loving.
So I'm thinking about maybe not traveling around my soda stream. But that's kind of,
Your
it's a bit
soda
weird.
stream bottle.
Yes.
Right.
You know what? I've had a new arrival. Should I tell you about my new arrival?
Talk to me.
Dukey, I forgot.
Hit me.
Marsha's had a new arrival, and it's serious. It's really serious.
Hit me.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I bought one of those traveling cups from the coffee shop that I go to.
Costa. There are other places.
There are other coffee shops. Go independent, even though I don't. And I bought one of those to try to cut down on the waste of paper cups because, apparently they can't be recycled. Sylv's got me all freaked out about recycling, yeah, and she got me all kind of upset about apparently these cups that they serve coffee in, they're hard to recycle because they come coated in plastic and whatever. And so even though you're thinking that you might be throwing them in a recycling bin, they don't necessarily get recycled. So I bought one of these plastic cups that are permanent.
You can reuse them.
Yeah, reusable.
You take them into the coffee retail establishment.
Yeah.
And you also get a discount.
And you get a discount. Yeah, that's right. So it's good that you know that because you don't even drink coffee. How do you know that? How do you know that, Dukey? You hang out with coffee drinkers, don't you?
Yes. This has been a topic of conversation amongst...
And hippies.
And hippies.
Who worry about the earth.
Yes.
I got a problem with this thing, though. Okay? So maybe you guys can help me out. Because I got
You have a disdain for polar bears.
No, I don't. I don't want to cause more havoc on the planet than I absolutely have to. Okay, and maybe that comes from being friends with Sylvia too long because she's got me all. She makes me bring home my potato chip wrappers from when I'm like in Manchester.
Crisp packets. For
Okay,
those
yeah, whatever.
in the know.
So, yeah.
I am so not that person. I'm really sorry. Strike that one from the record.
So I've caught this bug about recycling, and I thought, yeah, okay. So I drink a lot of coffee, and I get a lot of it takeaway. So, and I don't want to cause the earth any more problems than it already has. So I thought I'd get one of these reusable things, but it's causing me kind of a pain in my bum hole. Okay?
Why is that?
Well, I'm the only one using them. And I was in a place, where is it? Hereford?
Right.
Hereford? Hereford.
Hereford.
Hereford. And it was the first time I was gonna pop this reusable cups cherry. Okay? And
There are other phrases to denote the loss of one's innocence.
So, and Sylv was like, you got to take your cup with you. You got to take your cup with you. So I did. And I gave it to the woman at the coffee shop. And she looked at me like they were going to burn me out of town like Wicker Man.
So it got all Wicker Man.
Yeah, like
in
looking at me
Hereford.
like, what is this reusable of which you speak? So, and then they got kind of excited about it. They were like, oh man, we've never seen one of these things before, right? So there was that. So I was like kind of embarrassed. And then there were quite a few people in the shop that morning. And they were all obviously locals to Hereford. And they were all looking at me. Okay, like, what is this reusable thing of which you speak? And so I was like, oh my God, I'm really going to get chased out of town like a witch. Okay, so it made me self-conscious, which normally I don't care.
You're
but
a pioneer.
I know.
You're at the vanguard of coffee receptacle technology.
So then I used it in London, you know, and I give it to the person and they go, what size do you want? And I kind of look at my receptacle and I'm thinking, well, surely it's only once, right? I guess if you wanted smaller.
So it's a large receptacle.
Yeah.
I suppose you could, to be fair,
Yeah, you'd want
order
a
a
small.
small.
I guess it just kind of threw me. I guess I just kind of thought it's one size. And then I used it the other day again in London, and so I said, I guess you have to tell him a size. So I said to him, can I have a large Americano in that? And he looked at me and he barked at me. These only come in one size. You can't fit a large in that. Like, he barked at me, and I was like, okay, but I want like a large amount, but just like smaller. You know, I want the same number of shots because I need that caffeine hit, but, you know, just condense it down. So
I had a similar conversation with my dealer last week.
yeah, that's funny. And then nobody else is using these things, and they're not selling them in the stores anymore because they had like a big advertising campaign after it came out that these cups weren't being recycled, the takeaway ones. There was a big push for like, please don't hate us. Here, we'll sell you these reusable cups. So I thought it was going to be a big new thing. It seems like I'm the only person in the world. And I feel like kind of a dick.
You're single-handedly
Yeah.
saving the environment.
So as
And
you
you
can...
feel like a dick.
Dukey, what am I drinking my coffee out of right now? I'm holding it up for you.
A paper receptacle.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to have two of them because because I take my coffee black, so it gets so hot that you need to ask for another cup. And so I'm using two. So I got Sylv giving me the stink eye over here because she's all about the recycling.
Oh, hang on. May I interrupt you?
Yeah.
The Dukey Radio Show just received a text.
Yeah.
Erasmus, a polar bear,
Yeah.
has just
that's not
messaged
funny.
in saying, Jeremiah, fuck you.
See, that's how I feel. But nobody. So, people, if you're listening to me, it's not like I'm like judging you for recycling or not recycling. It's not about that. It's just that I feel a little isolated here. Could you join me in the reusable cup thing, and then maybe I can just get on with my life? Would that be possible?
What Bob Geldof did with Live Aid.
We need a Live Aid for the reusable cups.
Yes.
Yes.
Reusable cup aid.
I am so all over that bad boy.
Bring it on.
Yeah, okay, yeah, let's do, whatever works. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm some kind of goddamn hippie who's like, you two are a lot more hippie than I am. It's just, I don't want to feel lonely in using this thing, okay? And I don't want people looking at me like, what are you, a witch? I don't want to do that.
That does suck.
Dukey, I'm traveling for work this week, and I'm going to a place that's so remote that it has been voted most remote place in the UK. It took me so long to organize my travel to get to this place. It took me a whole afternoon, and I had to open up a different folder on my email just to put all of the travel details. That's how fucking remote this place is. And it doesn't have a coffee shop, like a proper one.
Where is this place?
It's called Peterhead. It's in Scotland.
That's near Aberdeen, isn't it?
Yeah, good. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, it's like
Blimey, but
way
it's-
outside of
I mean, I
Aberdeen.
suppose it's not so much near Aberdeen as Aberdeen is the nearest.
It's the nearest place, and then it's
Nearest
like an
town
hour
to it,
drive
city to it.
from there. And I think it's like 3 buses. Seriously, I'm not. So, and I'm thinking I have gotten to know this country, the UK, well enough by now to know that these places that don't have the big corporate chain coffee shops are usually like a pain in the ass, because I'll go find them and think, okay, there's an independent place. I can get my coffee there in the morning, right before work. And then you look at their opening times, like, oh, they open at 9, they open at 10, right? And I'm like, well, I have to be at work at 9. Or they open at 9, and I'm like, well, I have to be at work at 9. So why are you opening at 9? So I'm thinking if I bring my little reusable cup with me to one of the, that's not going to happen. I mean, they'll go get the bees out, right, to torment me with, because I'm like Wicker Woman. And then it'll be like, oh, this place is so remote. It'll be like, oh, where do you get your coffee around here? Oh, you have to go to Morag's place. Knock on her door, and she'll make you a nice cup of Nestle, right? Don't get Sylvia started on Nestle, okay?
Yeah.
So what am I going to do, Dukey?
You are going to have to do the coffee equivalent
Yeah.
of people who are on methadone and they run out.
Oh, God.
Having to resort to street drugs.
Yeah,
So
which is what?
Your street drug equivalent will be the Coca-Cola Corporation. You're going to need to get your caffeine from fizzy drinks.
Oh, Dukey, I can't drink that stuff because I don't really like my sugar in liquid form. I like it solid. I like if you're gonna give me sugar, I want it. It needs to be solid. It needs to be cake. Okay, It needs to be. Here we are talking about food, but
You could also go
I'd rather
the
take a
energy
pill.
drink route.
Oh, those things are disgusting. Have you smelled those things?
Oh,
Like when
dreadful.
somebody passes you on the street and they got an open can of one of those things, I think, oh my God, that thing stinks. Like you can smell it like from 6 feet away.
There was a
I think she's gonna need, and I don't mean to be a pusher here.
Pro Plus.
She's gonna need a Pro Plus,
Right, oh dear.
or a Solpadeine.
Pro Plus, which
There
is...
are other opiates.
Oh, indeed. Pro Plus, which is a caffeine pill, in effect.
Yeah, I think I like the Solpadeine because occasionally when I haven't had access immediately to caffeine, Sylv has loaned me or given me a Solpadeine because yes, it's opiates, but it's also caffeine.
Yes.
And that'll do it. But, it's not just the caffeine I need. It's the actual comforting big cup of hot stuff that I need.
I hear you. For me, it's tea. And if I
Of
haven't
course
got
it is.
tea
You're
available...
British. Yeah.
And if I don't have tea available, things can really become quite...
Yeah, but you're less likely in this country to not have access to tea.
Absolutely, yes. Whereas if you're travelling to remote parts of the UK, finding decent coffee is going to be a challenge. And
I remember once I was this was a number of years ago now, so I'm sure they've progressed mightily. But I was in Swansea in Wales.
Yes.
And I went to the train station and I really wanted a peppermint tea. And there was a tiny little independent coffee tea shop in the station, and I asked for a peppermint tea, and it was that Wicker Woman type thing. She just looked at me like, you have brown tea, and the options you get with that are you can have it with sugar or no sugar. So what this peppermint thing is that you're talking about is ridiculous.
I've never heard of this peppermint
Yes,
tea.
so and I was like, oh, I've just asked for something that doesn't exist here.
I am afraid you've got ideas well above your station.
Well above my station. So I think I had to order a cup of normal tea that I didn't want, just so that they wouldn't chase me out of town with burning steaks. And that's what is going to happen for you, Marsha, next when you're in the middle of nowhere.
Indeed, I mean,
They probably haven't even heard of coffee yet.
I mean, Swansea's a decent-sized
Yes,
city.
I know. So I was really surprised.
And a very nice city. I'm quite surprised by that, but in South Wales, anything is possible. And sometimes surprising things are impossible.
I'm an urban snob, so I'm not hopeful that Marcia is going to find anything resembling coffee up in those parts.
What we're hoping for in this situation is that Glaswegian singer Charlene Spiteri, that maybe some of her family left Glasgow for the more relaxed pace of life in Peterhead and
We
set
can
up
only hope.
an Italian coffee concern. Yes.
Dukey, I had some chili last night, and it's a knockin'.
Oh.
Can we put some music on or something?
Oh, excuse me. Was that you?
Because it's getting kind of urgent now.
Yes. Welcome back.
Can I just say that wasn't me? Because I really don't deal with
It was
that
Jeremiah.
kind of humor. Dukey loves that humor. It's so Japanese of you. It's so your upbringing in Japan, isn't it? Because the Japanese are just so totally into that kind of thing. For good or ill. I mean, I don't mind, but it's just very funny that you find it so funny.
It's also embraced in the United Kingdom in a huge way. Absolutely.
Yes, but not even mention Japan. I remember seeing this documentary about Japanese television shows, and they had a television show where they had all these people, I think they were all men, and they were all competing to see who could go longest without having a pee.
Right.
And so basically what you were watching was this lineup of men, I guess there was like 10 of them, all just like squirming with the need to wee, and then eventually one of them would just give up and run off to the bathroom, and that would leave like 9, and then they'd just be squirming and then until you eventually got down to 1. And I just thought, wow,
Endurance.
that's it. It's just and the audience was going wild, like they were peeing themselves laughing. And I just thought, how strange, what a different sense of humor they have. And they must think the same about British or American television. They must see it and think that it's really bizarre.
Certainly, I think some British exports, particularly Bean.
See, now, I don't understand Bean. I don't understand Mr. Bean. And
Mr.
I've lived
Bean
here
travels
for a long
well
time.
and has quite a cult following in Japan. But it's a very
I'm sure it
visual
does, yes.
entity. It isn't dialogue-based.
I don't understand it. I don't get it. That's one of those British steps too far for me. And I get lots of British things. You know, I was weaned on Blackadder and Fawlty Towers because my mother is English. And so, you know, it's not that kind of a cultural thing. It's just like, it's just a British step too far.
Mr. Bean, is he a British step too far?
I don't understand that not going out.
That's just a...
What is that?
It's just a bad program,
But
is
when
what that
I
is.
watch it, well, because sometimes I have it on because it's background for when I'm working in a hotel or whatever. And I just think, I don't get why this. It doesn't need me to like it. It is major. You know, it's been running for years, right?
Yeah.
They must have millions of fans, but have you ever met one? Probably not.
No.
I don't get it. Because it just seems really, like, bad. But lots of people disagree with me, and I bow to their greater knowledge.
And bless, I'm a very big fan of Tim Vine, who had the decency to leave that particular program. But my goodness, they don't need our approval.
Maybe we could do a whole show on they don't need us to like it, right? And I'm sure there's stuff in the States that's the same. Like, doesn't need me to like it. Like, oh yeah, like How I Met Your Mother. I've tried, and I'm like, I don't get why, but you know, or like Everybody Loves Raymond. Every time I see like a trailer for Everybody Loves Raymond, in my head I always go, no, they don't, because I don't get it. But, you know, it didn't need me to like it. I mean, it's in reruns now, but it didn't mean... I mean, he was making like $9 million an episode.
Indeed, it's a very well-loved program. I don't get it.
My mom really liked that show.
And then the...
A lot. But I think she mostly liked it for the mother-in-law.
Right.
Because I think that she kind of related to that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's nothing to do with the quality of the program then. But
The mom was really good in that, though. She was really good. She was really funny.
And Boyle, the one who played the father.
Yes. Peter Boyle?
Peter Boyle.
Peter Boyle. How do I know that? Because I'm not that big of a fan of that show either. But I did like the mom.
Here's a bit of trivia about him.
Yes, please.
Peter Boyle was a very long-standing friend of John Lennon's.
Really?
For, I think, the last 10 years of John Lennon's life, the New York years, so 1970-ish to 1980. And the interesting thing is, Boyle was not a Beatles fan. He didn't care about that world. And he was actually cut off from popular culture in the 60s. He was in a seminary. He had trained to become a priest, but then deviated from that by becoming an actor. And around the time of the film Young Frankenstein, early to mid-70s, he was in the circles that John Lennon was hanging out in, and they were dear friends. They would meet up regularly.
You know what, Dukey, is so weird? The human brain fascinates me, because we started talking about this quite spontaneously, but it actually fits in with the theme of this show. It's people who are very rock and roll doing very, very un-rock and roll things, like getting obsessed with crockpots, and people who are very, very un-rock and roll hanging out with one of the biggest rock and roll icons of all time.
Absolutely.
So do you like the way that neatly fits in there?
It's as though we planned it out.
It's as though we planned it out. And we genuinely didn't plan that out. We just started talking about television shows.
The one thing that I want to plan on not happening...
Is this one of your terrible segues?
...is drowning.
Can we mention one other rock and roll thing that you did that was so not rock and roll?
I'm worried. I genuinely have no idea what you're on about.
I don't have it. Oh, I think I know what you guys did the other Sunday. You know, thanks for asking me to come with you, but yeah, no thanks. Thank you very much.
We travelled to East Anglia.
Dukey, was that the least rock and roll thing that you've ever done in your life? Was to go to a posh boot fair?
Yes, it was a boot fair.
Or if you're not English, like a flea market.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a flea market set on the grounds of a very stately home.
It was a fancy pants flea market. I don't understand.
Rewind.
Dukey, it so wasn't fancy pants.
No.
I don't understand why you guys went to that thing in the first place, because neither of you are like flea market people, are you?
No.
And I can tell you why I went. And Dukey was so kind to drive me. You were because you're always up for a drive, aren't you?
Yes.
So I shouldn't feel too guilty.
And Molly the Dukey radio show dog, really loves being in the car.
So basically, you drove 6 hours.
Yes.
In the hopes, for me, my hopes, that I would meet Philip Mould.
Yes.
And you're not averse to a bit of Mouldy either, are you, Dukey?
I know his work through...
I have no idea who that is.
Through a program called Fake or Fortune.
I have no idea what that is.
Which also starred the lovely Fiona Bruce.
Oh, yes, you're really into the Fiona. I mean, and who isn't? I mean, my word. The woman is sex on legs, and she's so smart, and she's so wonderful. Philip Mould is an art expert. He owns his own art gallery, selling old master paintings like Da Vinci and Caravaggio. And he does a program called Fake or Fortune, where people say, I have this painting up in my attic, and I don't know whether it's the real deal or not. And then Philip Mould and Fiona Bruce do all this research. And he's also written books, and I love him dearly. So you drove 6 hours to meet a guy who has a gallery in London that is probably in the center of town, which would probably only take you 20 minutes to get to.
Maximum, door to door.
Yes, but I don't know that he's always there.
And we should state that he was there to compare the event, if you will, to cut the ribbon, to open the festivities.
And I took his book with me and a pen, thinking that I'm definitely going to bump into him, and I'm definitely going to gush all over him and ask him for his autograph. And thinking that there would be like 50 people there. Dukey, how many people were there? My gosh.
Yes.
My gosh, golly, gosh.
That car park on the grounds of this absolutely gorgeous period home. Hundreds of vehicles.
They had the military having to help us park.
Indeed. The
what?
TAs were there.
Oh, like the weekend people who do the army on the weekends.
Yes.
Because I'm sure that's what they signed up for when you joined the weekend army, whatever you call it. What do you call it? The territorial army.
Territorial
yeah,
army.
because when you join up, what you think, what your friends say, oh my God, you're going to go out pretending to kill people. No, we're going to help posh people park. That's what you sign up for. I did feel kind of sorry for them.
And also to direct people to the lavatories.
They were, because there were huge lines
Yes,
for the porta potties.
We shall direct them to the car park. We shall navigate.
Exactly. That's what they signed up for. We're going to help people poop and we're going to help them park. They should call it the pooping park.
We will help them to drop bombs in the lavatory.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what they had in mind. When you're going to help people poop, you're going to help them park. Dukey, there was really very little that was fancy about this flea market.
It was bric-a-brac. It was bric-a-brac
so
aplenty.
I not only wanted to meet Philip Mould, who is just wonderful, but I also thought, maybe I'll come across a Vermeer or a Picasso, and Lord and Lady so-and-so are selling this for £500, and I'll be able to flip it for like $6 million. So that was in my head, not to be mercenary, but I just thought, well, maybe it is mercenary.
Yes.
But I just thought maybe that could happen.
So Sylvia was thinking car boot fair. The cars in question would be, Bentleys and
Exactly.
rollers, and you'd have some fuddy-duddy people who
Didn't care about selling their
Indeed,
Picasso
it's like,
for £500.
This one's just not blending with the new wallpaper.
On the
Would you
Facebook,
like to take it away?
Exactly. So, and on their Facebook page, they said 1 year of doing this, they sold a Rolls Royce for £5,000, or a
Something
Bentley.
like that.
No, it was a Bentley for £5,000, which is cheap as anything when you're talking about Bentleys, right? Not that I care about cars. So I thought I'm not only going to meet one of my art heroes, Valdemar Januszczak. If you're listening, do not let this put you off, because you are my favorite, dear. So I wanted to meet one of my art heroes, and I also wanted to buy like a Leonardo da Vinci for £500.
Oh, some foreign person did this. I don't want it in my house anymore.
Yes, and I would have
Can you take it away?
I would have happily put it on my credit card and just... Dukey, none of that happens. So it was basically just posh people selling their tat.
There were a lot of dogs.
There were a lot of dogs.
A lot of ugly pugs, I have to say.
Yeah, I don't know what is that one of those with the squashy face?
Yes.
Aren't they just ugly by default?
They look a little bit like croissants.
Oh, I think they look like little Tibetan monks.
Oh,
and I just think they're
that's true.
so cute. But there were some wall-eyed ones there.
Yes.
And then a lot of posh people with really posh dogs.
Yes.
I'm sorry to say this, Dukey, but Molly looked a little unposh. And she's wonderful. But, people were looking at her like, oh, that's not a pedigree.
There was a little bit of that.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of that. And then people were just selling their tat.
It was bric-a-brac. It was
Like,
really...
some people had like Jesus statues.
Yes.
Like that you buy at the Five and Dime.
like kettles from the 1980s.
Yes, it was really bizarre.
Morphy Richards, sought after, rare, circa 1988.
Yes, it was. So Molly had a nice drive.
She did.
And it was lovely weather, and we had some nice food. And because there was of course they had posh food stalls. So fortunately for that, it was all good. And then we accidentally brought Molly's poop home with us.
Yes. We transported
That's
her
not,
poop
wow.
across many different counties. We counted the number of counties.
How do you accidentally bring poop home with you? I stuck in the car and I said to Dukey, the first trash can we come across, and there'll be one within mere feet of us, we'll throw it away. But it was such a clusterfuck getting out of the car park that I completely forgot all about it. And then we were nearly home, and I was like, oh my gosh, I left the poop in your car. So that means you've had even more poop in your car.
It's carrying a rich tradition.
You drove 6 hours to get some poop. Is effectively
Across Norfolk, Suffolk, Cambridgeshire, Essex, and Greater
Wow,
London.
and you didn't meet your guy. I didn't, sadly, Philip Mould, if you're listening, and I'm sure you're not because you're so posh that you wouldn't stoop to listening to a podcast. But if you are, I'm very sorry I didn't meet you. Dukey, can you get him on the show? Because he so wouldn't want to come on the show, I'm sure. But, you never know. You can't judge people.
Is your argument that he's posh, therefore he won't want to come on?
Yeah, but Dukey, you've seen him on television. He's not just posh. I mean, he's like uber posh.
He sounds like me. He just talks a bit more slowly.
Yes, but I'm a fan of his Facebook page, and he's always posting stuff like, we have a lovely painting of royal aristocracy, so-and-so, Baron Hooty-Dooty. And, you can tell that he really wants to be on that level.
Right.
And I think he's got like a title as well from services to the UK. Whereas Valdemar Januszek, who's very learned about art and who I love, I think he'd be quite happy to come on your show because he really is into his music.
Indeed. He saw the Undertones perform in their native Northern Ireland in the 1970s. He actually went to one of their first gigs.
So if you could have Valdemar on the show, I would pass out. I would swoon like a Victorian lady. I would swoon.
We need our people to contact their people.
So you didn't meet this guy.
No.
You didn't buy anything cheap
We
that you
didn't.
could have sold for millions, and you brought home poop.
Correct.
That was pretty much your day, yes. Oh, and I got car sick.
And Sylvia
you got car sick.
Yeah.
Right. That sounds like, I'm sorry I didn't go. I thank you for asking me, and what a regret.
The grounds were beautiful.
They were very beautiful.
The drive, most of it was absolutely beautiful. That part of the country is absolutely gorgeous.
So that's another rock and roll thing that you've done. You went to a posh flea market.
Indeed.
You've been faffing about with crockpots. And what is your terrible segue, Dukey? Because you're good at these. Terrible, terrible segues.
Now, we planned that particular trip.
Yes.
And although we didn't get what we sought, we still had an experience that was wonderful.
It was a nice time. I'm glad we went.
It was a nice
and
day
I
out.
thank you for driving my ass.
And do you know how many days out are spoiled by people drowning?
Dukey, wow, you got there in the end. I know what you're talking about here because we all live in the same neighborhood.
Yes. For reasons...
I saw one on a park bench and I thought, that's really weird.
There are warning signs all over Dukey Village.
I think we need to explain, though, that people might not know that the neighborhood that we all live in there's a canal running through it.
Yes.
And that canal runs into what they call a basin.
Yes.
Which is, how would you explain a basin?
A basin. For those people not in the know, it's a little bit like a marina.
Oh, yes, I suppose it is. But, it's not huge, but, it's sizable.
It is.
They do like canoeing and stuff.
Yeah,
in there.
the basin is what used to be, historically, a dock for building and servicing ships.
Yes, because our neighborhood used to be the slums, but also where all the ship workers, the dock workers,
Indeed.
Worked, because it's the neighborhood itself is right on the Thames.
Yes.
So you walk your dog by the canal in the basin, and I've walked Molly Moops around the basin and near the canal. So, but like Marsha says, they're also putting these warning signs in the middle of the park on the park bench.
Yes.
Yeah, all of a sudden I'm walking somewhere and to the store or whatever, and I walk by the park bench and it's warning me to try not to drown.
Yes. With statistics being
and
given.
I'm like, but the canal is like 200 feet away from me.
Yes.
So what?
And the stats are really weird. 46% of joggers die from drowning.
Yeah, and that one came, that photo, did you see that photo? It's like somebody's upturned sneaker sitting, kind of floating beautifully, the beautifully posed picture on the water. And I'm like, somebody had to compose that shot because you didn't just take a picture of a dead person's shoe, right? And it's, what is that? When I was out walking Molly Moops for you one day when you were at work, one of the pictures just shows the canal and it says, they only went to take the dog for a walk, ... And I was thinking, oh my God, I'm walking a dog and I could die.
I mean, the one thing that hasn't really hit me personally, but, the year is still young, summer is around the corner. The one thing that's not struck me is when I'm out walking the dog, goodness, I really need a swim with my dog right now.
I don't understand, because I thought, well, aside from just not walking along the edge, I'm not entirely sure how much more careful I can be. I mean, aside from not walking anywhere near the canal, but like you were saying, Marsha, that you weren't even anywhere near the canal, and they're still warning you to try not to drown. So I actually jumped in the canal once.
Yes.
Dukey, I haven't told you this, and you're looking very frightened.
Were you with Molly Moops?
I was. Dukey, because it scared me, because I love your dog. I love your dog like so much that it's almost actually painful how much I love your dog.
Get to the story.
And I would throw myself in front of a bus for any dog or any animal, indeed. I mean, a squirrel, cat, I would throw myself in front of a bus. She would, Dukey, which is really sad. She would actually. So Molly saw something in the canal, and I had her on the extendable lead. And before I knew, because there was nothing around that seemed like she was going to get away from me. To me, I've always got my eye open. All of a sudden, she jumped in the canal. So guess what I did? I jumped in after her thinking that she was going to drown. And then Molly just stood there, and the water came up to like her doggy knees. And the water came up to like halfway up to my knees.
So thankfully,
So we were just standing there looking like a couple of doofuses.
I hope you didn't dive in, or else you could have broken your neck.
Yeah, well, exactly.
And died from drowning.
And here I had this instantaneous vision of Molly just sinking under the water. And I was just, she just stood up, and I think she was like chasing a pigeon or something. So I was thinking, and I know that people can drown in small amounts of water, but aside from just being, aware, is that just what they want us to do? And aren't you aware anyway of like, don't fall in the water?
Absolutely.
You know what I think they should warn us about? The other morning, I was walking by the basin, and there's lots of plant life around there and stuff. And I turned a corner, and there was a man having a wee out in the middle, and he was just standing there with his ding dong in his hand. And I was like, oh. Like, he didn't even try to hide it. He didn't even try to go in a bush or anything. Hey. And can I just say that it was enormous.
Right.
And I was like, oh, which just made
well done.
It made it worse in a way, though. It made it worse that it was so enormous.
It meant that the wee had, less distance had to travel before
Dukey,
hitting soil.
It really disturbed me. And
well
I thought,
done.
I had to walk by like 5 of those signs before I reached him to telling me not to drown. It's like, how about telling me not to run across men who have their penises in their hand?
22% of public urinators die from
He
drowning.
could have drowned because he was like 20 feet away from the basin.
And he was pissing so much that...
yes, exactly.
He could have compromised his own breathing. Another feature in our manor on the route in which I take Molly Moops for a walk is this weird lass who has been doing her yoga right out on the dog walking path.
People do that.
Yeah, well done for pursuing yoga, but it is...
What's your problem,
It's
Dukey?
kind of weird when you're doing... you're out with the dog, and you've got to walk around somebody doing downward dog. Molly certainly was confused.
Well, you're out there with your downward dog, so does that mean she can't do her downward dog?
I realise it sounds like I'm being closed-minded about it. It seems though...
I'm not clear about what the problem is.
We've got some beautiful parks, and there are open spaces where you can do your sun salutations to your heart's content.
She's doing it in the middle of the path.
In the middle of the path.
Okay.
It
just seems like a weird place, I guess, for her. Like, why would that be comfortable?
It's
like,
bordering on being an exhibitionist.
Yeah, maybe she is. Maybe she is.
Well done. But this got me thinking.
Yeah.
How many yoga people are involved with dying, in the water, drowning?
We could all drown. Like, even just sitting here in your studio, I think that we could drown, like right now, in the basin.
17.5% of podcasters die from drowning. They thought they were just going to record some banter.
Yes,
3 microphones floating in the
Ah,
Thames.
3 microphones, Dukey. They were only recording a podcast.
4 microphones. And, next thing you know, it's like, the Marchionettes.
Have you guys been warned about Avocado Hand?
This is genuinely turning into a bit of a bloody affair. People are being kind of rushed to
It scares me
casualty
because,
on a regular basis because of Avocado Hand or
it scares
Avocado
me
Hand.
because Sylv has been getting into avocados lately, and so she's been bringing home a lot of them, and you got to take the pit out and everything, and all of a sudden I go on Facebook and everybody's like, oh my God, be careful out there, because when people are trying to get the pit out, it seems like they're like gashing their hands. So the NHS are warning, don't get Avocado Hand because it seems like it's a big thing.
Deary me.
It's the most middle class problem ever.
Really, I remember when avocados were popular back in the day. We used cutting boards.
Luckily, because I hate cooking so much, that all of my knives are they're just not even proper knives. They're all so dull. They're like Fisher Price knives, and I can't be bothered to sharpen them. So even when I do kind of cut myself, if I'm cutting up vegetables, it's like cutting myself with the side of a I don't know, a floppy disk.
Right.
To use that retro reference.
That's a very retro.
Very retro indeed. I saw this friend in town because we were going to the theater, and she was using an actual map.
Oh, an old A to Z.
An actual on paper map.
Respect.
Do you not love that?
I like it.
I love that. But she could drown.
She could drown.
We were in the West End. We were right near Piccadilly, in the middle of, right in the middle of the center of London. And we could have drowned.
5% of people who still use A to Z in 2017 die from drowning.
Yeah, you got to be careful out there, people. There's avocado pits. There's drownings. I mean, it's tough time to be alive.
Transporting poop across county lines.
Yeah, you're transporting poop.
It's not good.
It's a scary world out there, peeps. Go carefully.
Another thing that I find a bit scary.
You know what I find really scary are your terrible, terrible segues.
Another scary
Yes.
thing are when charity gigs go wrong. You
did a punky thing, didn't you?
I did a punky gig in aid of mental health.
You know what I found really scary about that? The man's PowerPoint presentation. Oh, God, don't get her started. Don't get her started about PowerPoints. This woman has some really strident views about PowerPoint. I'm against the bullet point. I can't lie.
It's antiquated.
It's ridiculous.
Unnecessary.
And it's not how people learn.
29% of people who use bullet points in PowerPoint presentations die.
If you're
From
listening
drowning.
to me and you use bullet points in your PowerPoint, please send me your PowerPoint and I will do it up for you for free. I swear. So yes, that gentleman, you showed me that because they were filming it live and they
Yes.
were transmitting it live.
Yes.
So that man, what was he doing? He was giving a presentation on mental health.
Yes, a lovely, lovely person.
He seemed lovely. He was a really
Absolutely
nice
committed.
man. Yes.
And I don't want to be disparaging about the people behind the gig at all, behind the series of gigs,
No,
which has gone international.
Listen, I work in that world, so that's why I'm so concerned about the PowerPoint, because I want you guys to be amazing.
And there's one chap, was trying to extol the virtues of the work that they were doing.
He was really cool. Yeah, I liked him a lot.
And he is a lovely, lovely, lovely
Which
person.
is why I think his PowerPoint isn't doing him justice.
Indeed. And
I'll stop saying PowerPoint now. There are other presentations elsewhere.
Absolutely. The audience members are there. They want to be entertained. And they want to feel that they're doing something good. They're contributing the money they've paid.
He had a terrible PowerPoint.
Yes.
And how punky is that?
Not punky at all.
Dukey, I can't bear it because in my line of work, I have to use PowerPoint all the time. I actually use Prezi mostly, but let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
So let's just call it PowerPoint. That's what I do for work. And this person was using it at a punk gig.
Yes.
What? It wasn't landing either, was it?
No, he cleared the room. And what's so
Did he have a pointer?
frustrating... no, he didn't.
Okay, because you know what would have made that even worse is if he'd had a pointer.
He had a Mohican, though.
You got a guy with a mohawk using PowerPoint. Okay, what kind of gig was this?
Punk for mental health.
It was a punk gig.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an interesting juxtaposition.
Did you know
Yeah,
that people who attend gigs
yeah,
and who are bored by PowerPoint presentations,
yeah.
unexpected ones, 13% of them, and that is an unlucky number, they
Yeah.
die from drowning.
Oh, do they die?
Yeah.
Dukey, I think the lesson to be learned here is that life is full of juxtapositions. So you're a rock and roller, and you look really rock and rolly, and you're having crock-pot meals, you're looking up recipes, and you're going to posh flea markets.
Yes.
And then when you go to play a punk gig, there's somebody there presenting with PowerPoint.
Correct. But alas, we're still...
And you could drown.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes the Thames and looks so great, I just want to dive in.
And you could get do you eat avocados?
I like guacamole.
Okay, so when you're making guacamole, be careful.
1 minute you're out there fishing on the Thames. The next, you become fish food yourself.
Oh, Jesus, that's terrible, Dukey. Or you're walking a sprawly, and all of a sudden you're dead.
Well, I think Molly, perhaps in her own way, is warning dogs of the perils of avoiding the Thames and any body of water.
So
when you
don't
can.
drown and don't go to flea markets.
Basically, yeah.
All right, have fun.
And don't keep your shit in the car.
It's a lesson for us all.
Hallelujah. I'm going to go and stick some shit in a crock pot and cook the fuck out of it. Blimey, so much for Irene's "there's not that much swearing in this episode" message at the start of the show. You've been listening to The Slow Cooking Revolution Will Not Be Televised. My name is Dukey, and for all of my cooking sins, I've been your host. Until next time, may the worst of tomorrow be the best of yesterday. Now it's time for me to go and pop my weasel. Thanks for listening.
Half a pound of tuppenny rice, half a pound of treacle. That's the way the money goes. Pop goes the weasel.
Facebook. Click on your mouse to our Facebook page. Facebook. It's easy to find, it will not take an age. Facebook. www.facebook.com/. The Dukey Radio Show, the Dukey Radio Show. The thin white Dukey is right. Click your way to the Dukey Radio Show Facebook page. www.facebook.com/The Dukey Radio Show. The Dukey Radio Show, the Dukey Radio Show.
They can piss off with all that structure nonsense. Aside from giving me some terrible, terrible wind, I thought the lasagna was delicious.
Crock-pot pizza.